Have you ever felt paralyzed by the sheer openness of life, haunted by a question that asks, what if I choose wrong? Or, what if my next step leads me off a cliff? In an age brimming with possibilities, many of us sink into indecision. We overthink, crave certainty, and fear the unknown. Yet Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher often called the father of existentialism, believed anxiety isn't just an obstacle. It's a signal that we stand on the brink of freedom. If we dare to leap into the unknown, guided by faith or passion, we might find a life richer in meaning than any safe path could promise. Today, we'll explore Kierkegaard's call for existential courage, how he urges us to embrace faith in the face of uncertainty, take responsibility for our deepest choices, and discover an inner strength we never thought possible. If you've ever felt trapped by overanalysis or a longing for guarantees, Kierkegaard's message might be the radical nudge your heart's been waiting for. Søren Kierkegaard, 1813 to 1855, lived in Copenhagen, Denmark, wrestling with theological questions in a society he felt had grown complacent. An odd figure, he poured his restless energy into writings that criticized shallow religiosity and championed subjective truth, the idea that what truly matters is how we live our beliefs, not just how we discuss them. While many philosophers dwell on grand theories, Kierkegaard zeroed in on individual existence. The agonizing choices we make, our personal anxieties, our leaps of faith. He wrote under various pseudonyms, crafting dialogues that forced readers to confront their own assumptions. Though deeply Christian, Kierkegaard insisted that true faith isn't easy comfort. It's a passionate commitment undertaken without proof, an existential risk. This unwavering focus on personal responsibility, angst, and taking a leap into the unknown later inspired existentialists like Heidegger and Sartre. But Kierkegaard remains distinct, with an emphasis on faith as an intense personal affair, a confrontation with the unknown that demands courage. One of Kierkegaard's most famous ideas is that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. When you realize you can choose virtually any path, the weight of possibility can feel overwhelming. It's like standing on the edge of a cliff. Part of you fears falling, but part of you also feels the thrilling potential of jumping, of flight. We often numb or avoid this anxiety by clinging to external rules or letting others decide for us. But Kierkegaard suggests that facing our anxiety reveals our capacity for authentic choice. If we try to escape it, we slip into inauthentic living, merely copying social norms or existing on autopilot. True freedom arises when we stop evading that dizzy feeling, daring instead to look it in the eye and say, yes, I can choose, so I will. In other words, your anxiety over big life decisions or uncertain futures might be less a flaw and more a calling, a summons to step forward, claim your freedom, and act with conviction. Kierkegaard famously spoke of the leap of faith, the moment we trust a higher truth, a deep conviction, or a personal calling without rational certainty. He contrasts the knight of faith, who leaps passionately, against the knight of resignation, who surrenders possibility, living in careful distance from true commitment. In everyday terms, this might mean leaping into a career you feel called to, even if it defies logic. It might mean opening your heart to love despite the risk of heartbreak. Or it could mean adopting a spiritual stance that resonates with your soul, even though you can't prove it logically. Kierkegaard insisted that true faith, in anything, is not about intellectual evidence, but about a personal, subjective stance that transforms how you live. This leap isn't naive. It recognizes the absurdity of wanting absolute proof for something ultimately personal. Instead of stalling forever, you embrace the risk, knowing you might fail or suffer, but also that you might truly live. Let's consider two individuals. The wavering artist. Jo has always dreamt of painting full-time, but stayed in a stable corporate job out of fear. One day, she can't ignore her longing anymore. She's terrified. What if she fails? Will she lose others' respect? Kierkegaard would say her anxiety is the dizziness of freedom, The leap of faith is to follow her passion, not blindly, but with eyes open to the risks. By choosing that uncertain path, she claims responsibility for her life's meaning. The wounded romantic. Alex struggles with trust after past betrayals. He's cynical about love, convinced it's naive to invest in uncertain relationships. Yet he meets someone whose presence warms his heart, stirring a longing to trust again. Kierkegaard's view? Leaping into love, fully aware it might end, means forging an authentic bond. If Alex remains guarded, he never experiences genuine intimacy. Anxiety over heartbreak is real, but the leap transcends fear, affirming life's possibilities instead of succumbing to safety. In both cases, the leap is neither reckless nor guaranteed. It's an act of courage that harnesses anxiety, turning it from an obstacle into fuel for a passionate, chosen path. Kierkegaard was deeply religious, though he criticized institutional Christianity for being lukewarm. For him, faith wasn't following dogma, but boldly trusting in something beyond reason. This could be trust in God, or in a higher purpose, or in the inherent value of life's calling. The key is that rational certainty is impossible. That is what makes the leap truly a leap, not a calculated step. For those not spiritually inclined, faith can still be relevant. Faith in your creative vision, in human goodness, or in love's power to transform. The point is, if we demand absolute proof before acting, we remain forever paralyzed. Kierkegaard's existential cure is to choose something to believe in wholeheartedly, knowing full well it might be absurd or unprovable. That unwavering commitment, in his view, brings life to our days. How do you know you're stuck avoiding the leap of faith? You always wait for the right time. Anxiety says now is too risky, but deep down, you suspect no time will ever feel fully safe. You hide behind logic or cynicism. I'll do it once I have guarantee X. You never do. Or you mock others' leaps to justify staying put. You blame circumstances. I can't chase that dream. I have no connections. I can't open my heart. I might get hurt. Real constraints exist, but sometimes they're camouflage for fear. Life feels dull or claustrophobic. Kierkegaard believed that refusing anxiety's call leads to stagnation. The price of safety is often a flat, unfulfilling existence. If these signs ring a bell, perhaps your anxiety is telling you it's time to trust something bigger than guaranteed outcomes, your own convictions. Kierkegaard wouldn't advise flinging yourself blindly into chaos. Instead, approach the leap with reflective intention. Listen to your anxiety. Ask, why am I anxious? What longing or choice am I avoiding? Anxiety often points to an unlived truth. Identify core values. Clarity about what truly matters helps you pick a direction worth leaping into. Embrace imperfection. The leap doesn't guarantee success. It's about living passionately, not flawlessly. Mistakes are part of the path. Take a measured risk. Start small if you like. Share a piece of your art with the world, or open up emotionally to someone you trust. Each mini leap builds existential muscle. Allow discomfort. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's acting despite fear. Lean into the dizzy sensation. That's freedom stirring. Over time, these small steps prepare you for bigger leaps. The crucial point? Act even if you're uncertain. In that uncertainty, Kierkegaard believes, life gains vitality. When fear of the unknown arises, we often look for external reassurance. But existential courage requires a sort of self-support. Speak kindly to yourself. Acknowledge the dread. Yes, I'm scared. And that's okay. Set healthy boundaries. If someone discourages your leap, remember they might be projecting their own fears. Nurture resilience. Reflect on past leaps, times you risked and grew. Remind yourself you've handled uncertainty before. This approach fosters inner stability, letting you face big decisions with grounded confidence. Kierkegaard's existential leap isn't just about braving gloom or adult responsibilities. it also invites us to play with life's possibilities. Embracing the unknown can free us to explore new passions, be spontaneous, or delight in relationships. Vulnerability, ironically, can become a source of joy, like a child who leaps into a game, unconcerned with perfect outcomes. When you dare to love, create, or speak authentically, you reclaim a sense of wonder. The leap doesn't just quell existential dread, it brings color to life. Kierkegaard insisted that living passionately, embracing each moment's potential, is not only possible, but deeply fulfilling. If we have the courage to stand in the tension between fear and faith. In a universe that offers no absolute certainties, Kierkegaard says we can either avoid the terror of choice or lean into it wholeheartedly. By taking existential leaps, trusting a dream, devoting ourselves to love, stepping onto uncertain paths, we become fully alive. Anxiety remains, but it transforms from a paralyzing force into an undercurrent of freedom. Our choices become expressions of who we truly are, rather than echoes of who we think we must be to please others. So here's the question Kierkegaard leaves us with. Will you keep searching for an impossible guarantee? Or will you accept anxiety as the cost of freedom and choose anyway? Will you remain on the edge of the cliff, analyzing every risk, or will you find the courage to leap? Because in that leap, be it faith in God, a creative vision, or love, you might discover a deeper sense of self. Not a guaranteed safety, but an authentic life, rich with meaning precisely because it is uncertain. That's Kierkegaard's existential gift, the reminder that we can each become co-creators of our destiny, forging a path where fear no longer reigns, but rather stands side by side with faith in something larger than our doubts. Thank you for joining me on this journey.